Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, Ba'ashem Chak. My name is Jacob from Plaintables Camp. This is, will Trump usher in WW3? This is Kim Iverson, as he's reviewing her video. Let's listen in.
And I'm going to entitle this video, it's two titles, so you can pick the one that you like. The first title is Trump will bomb Moscow and Beijing, or will Trump bomb Moscow and Beijing? Now the title should have been, I'll give you two titles again. Will Trump usher in World War III? Or Trump will usher in World War III? So I gave you four titles, so I'm going to pick one of them. So two in the form of a question, and the other two in the form of a sentence or a statement. Now, this is the spirit, because this was put up. This is Kim Iverson, and she does live. She goes live on YouTube and she goes live on Rumble. But what she does, she'll cut up part of it. She'll do like 10-minute, smaller videos, shorter videos, so to speak. This is 9 minutes. So I'm gonna show you what ironic is. About 15 minutes before coming to this video, I was in the chat, and I put some different words in Trump, World War III, blah blah blah. And I believe I want to know I did. I misspelled usher in, but it gave me the information that I was looking for. And it did say that in 2024, he did threaten to bomb both Moscow and Beijing. Anyway, so that was the spirit. Because I spelled the word usher. Okay, so this is it right here. Will Trump World War III? Let me put in the word usher if I didn't lose it. Bear with me for a minute. So that's it right there. Matter of fact, let me do it this way. Okay, I worded it a little different, and what came up was there was a leak meeting that he had where he mentioned he's going to bomb Russia and Beijing. So I'm gonna leave it here. Let me come back to. So here is the link right here. And so what I did was I slowed it down. I put subtitles, and I slowed it down to 0.75. And this is fair use, fair use, fair use. Believe me, either. Here's a leaked audio. That's her speaking. So it's a little muffled, but you can read the subtitles.
Putin said, if you go in the Ukraine, they'll bomb the shit out of Moscow. I'm telling you, I haven't those Republicans about it. So.
Yeah, well, I heard about this leak, and some saying it could have been AI or made up or something like that, but others saying that it was drawing theories around if he said it and what did he actually mean. So of course, if he does that, that's going to precipitate nuclear missiles to fly. So it depends on what bombs so-called J's decide to drop, because he's not going to do this on his own accord. Because he's a puppet for the Little Hats, which is basically the head tribe of his people, the Amalek, right? And they stand in the position of calling themselves Israelites, but they're not the real Israelites. We are the real Israelites, and whether this is true or not, it's good to talk about, because eventually there is going to be a WW3 between these countries. And the last thing that's going to happen is going to be the nuclear trade between the nuclear powers. So, and the Most High controls those arrows. That nuclear fire is controlled by spirits. So they're going to go where the Lord tells them to go, or Yahweh tells them to go. So if this is real, it's just, because sometimes Trump just says things out of anger and he doesn't really intend to do them. He exaggerates and he's using a lot of hyperbole, but eventually there's going to be a third world war. So, and no, Trump is not going to bomb, in my opinion, going to bomb Moscow and bomb Beijing. All right, because that will pretty much end trade. I don't see how trade could be continue after that. And he has a more likelihood of bombing Russia than China, in my opinion. And again, that's going to just change the scope of trade, and that could bring us into let's say oil and goods famine, and raising prices of oil and lack of goods, lack of food, because that'll stop. That's going to, because once you bomb those major countries, then that's going to commerce around the world is going to change instantly.
He goes like, I don't believe you. He said no way, and I said way. And then he goes like, I don't believe you. But the truth is, you believe me 10%. And I told you that you believe me 10%. Go away, President Xi, China. But
Bring it
I
back.
said way. And then he goes like,
So he's claiming that he's told us the
I
truth.
don't believe you. He's no choose Republican. If you go in,
Here's the leaked audio.
and Putin said, if you go in Ukraine, they'll bomb the shit out of Moscow.
Now,
Well, obviously he didn't do that. You're gonna bomb the shit. You're just not gonna bomb a nuclear power country like that, and it just nothing happens after that. So again, if it's AI voice trained and they cloned his voice or whatever, that's possible. But you just can't do that, and then commerce, everything just stays the same. If that happens, that's a precursor to economic slowdown, turmoil, and again, something like that possibly could happen to bring in the implant chip. All right, to put everybody on universal basic income, because if world commerce slows down and the trade and the money stops flowing into countries, then the citizens are going to have to be put on some type of, my theory and other people's theory, that the citizens have to be put on some type of income, because there's going to be no more jobs. The jobs are going to be greatly impacted, the markets. So it's going to be mass suffering, and the cure is going to be universal basic income via implantable microchip, which we believe is the mark of the beast. All right. So these are scenarios that could happen. How it's actually going to happen, we'll wait and see. We're living in those times. All right. It says Revelation 7:1, and after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. And the winds should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having a seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. So the purpose of reading this precept is to say that there are certain prophecies that have to take place before other events take place. All right. So we know that what the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Even though Trump is a puppet, he's a figurehead, but he's the one that issues the final orders, whether he is of his own accord or someone else's. All right. So he will represent the king of Babylon, New Babylon, which is America. All right. Then it goes down here. So I have to tell you, name the sons of Jacob. All right. Including Ephraim and Manasseh, or Joseph and Manasseh, which is Joseph is Ephraim. All right. So let's listen to what the apostle's about to say.
It was earlier today or was it yesterday? And he had to sit down when they asked him about the Epstein case. He said, why we got to bring up Epstein? Because the walls are closing in on him and others. But he did say yesterday's meeting, press conference, whatever you want to call it, he did say that he's going to start sending weaponry to Ukraine. So he's remember he had the meeting with Zelensky? He said, we ain't going to do that. We ain't going to give you no more money. We ain't going to give you no more missiles because you're gambling with, World War III. So here yesterday, he said, he made it straight to the point. We're going to start sending weapons. So he's going to keep that war going. Because Russia is at the point of totally knocking Ukraine at the box, so to speak. And Ukraine is just about ready to surrender. So, according to what Trump said, he wants to keep that war going. Says anti-war Trump threatens to bomb Moscow and Beijing. So let's listen to it here. It's muffled, but you can read the subtitles there.
I'm telling you, I have no choice Republicans. So, you guys, I don't believe you. They said, if you said no way, and I said way, and then he goes, I don't believe you, but the truth is you believe me 10%. And I told you this.
So you can bring it back and watch it again. The main point, I don't want y'all to do this again. Let me do this one more time. And we're going to read the closed captions. It says, then Putin said, if you go in, talking about Ukraine.
Ukraine is going to bomb the shit out of Moscow. I'm telling you.
He said he's going to bomb the shit out of Moscow. So this was said in 2000, a year ago. So now, we're going to listen to the rest of this. Give me a second here. Let me come over here. And the exact thing that I showed you. So we don't need that anymore. Will Trump usher in World War III? Or Trump will usher in World War III? It's a serious and complex question. Let's break it down carefully. There is no way to predict a certain blah, 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 blah. Donald Trump would start a third trigger war. Of course he would. He's got a big mouth. He speaks without thinking. His mouth is faster than his brain. Why some fear Trump's return can increase global tensions, and that is exactly day one. We're in 6 months of his administration, and he's got the world tense. Unpredictable foreign policy, and he started that with the tariffs. During his presidency, 2017 to 2021, Trump was known for unconventional and often confrontational approaches, and he's very aggressive. Inside joke. Confrontational. Like threats toward North Korea, trade wars with China, and withdrawing from international agreements, example given, the Iran nuclear deal. Strained alliances. Trump was openly critical of NATO, and ultimately the NATO nations will shoot missiles on Babylon the Great. And other, I sound like a broken record, but hey, and other traditional U.S. alliances, raising fears that reduced international cooperation could embolden adversaries. NATO will be emboldened on that day, pursuant to Revelation 17, started verse 12 on down. Authoritarian alignment. He has praised or maintained warm relations with strongmen like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, which critics argue could weaken deterrence or embolden aggression.
All right, so there's a prophecy in 2 verses saying the same thing. Just one of them uses, I believe, Edom. This is Babylon. So, therefore, this is referring to the so-called Jays, the little hat people that have stolen the identity of the biblical Israelites. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he has taken against Edom and his purposes, that he hath purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. All right, so this is a tribe of Edomites, Amalek. All right, or say a tribe, or let's say the Edomites. All right, because it doesn't actually say Amalek, but the least of the flock is referring to the a tribe of Edom. All right. And then it mentions T-Man, all right, which is supposed to be the German Edomites. All right, another tribe, and the least of the flock. We believe those are the Amalekites. All right, those are the tribe of the Edomites. Now, when you look up the tribes of the Edomites, it gives you the like the dukes of Edom, but I don't think it really explains the like the full tribal breakdown of Esau. Let's look up that real quick. They may have calculated their tribes differently. So the dukes of Edom. Let's see. These were the dukes, Genesis 36 and 15. These are the dukes of Esau, son of Eliphaz, firstborn. Well, let's look this up. How about we speed this up faster? Okay. List all the dukes of Edom. Instead of reading through that, we can just compile a list really quickly. All right. Descending from Esau, you got Teman, Omar, Zepho, Kenez, Korah, Gatham, Amalek. There we go. Nahath, Zerah, Shema, and Mizah. So 11 dukes. Let's make sure. Let's go down, because it may be a different count. Duke Migo, Duke Iram. These are the dukes. Yeah, so that's a different count. So it's more than 11, I think. All right, but point is, we got Amalek is one of them that it listed, but it's more here. You can Duke Kenez, Duke Teman, Duke Mizbar. Yeah, I said it. Well, that may be actually right. Duke Magdil, Duke Iram. These are the dukes of Edom according to their habitations. Let's see. Give me a full list according to Genesis 36. Oh, they're saying the descendants of descendants. Okay, so they're trying to break him up. All right. If they became dukes, just because they're a son of somebody doesn't mean they're not a tribe or a chief. That's how they broke them down. And that's really how Moses. I believe it's believed that Moses wrote the first 5 books, or he had it compiled. Then obviously after him, records, scribes after, Moses' death, had to, put them together. And the prophets, it doesn't really explain the exact authors of the first 5 books of the scriptures. But Amalek is one of them. T-Man is also another one. So prophecy is, let's go back, the least of the flock All right. Amalek, so-called Jays. All right. Teman, so-called the wise men of Edom. All right. Let's say, least of the flock shall draw them out. What? The third world's war. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Yeah, what habitations? The two main areas. The land of Israel, which the so-called Jays currently inhabit. All right. And the land of Babylon, which is America. We believe it's America. All right. So it's Jeremiah 49:20 and Jeremiah 50:45. All right. So I'll leave that there. Apostles video here. Will Trump usher in World War III or will Trump usher in World War III? I'll just name mine. Will Trump usher in World War III? The least of the flock shall draw them out. Something along those lines. So, hope you edified. Shalom.